Greetings, MBAP 516, uh, Organizational Leadership and Behavior Online MBA students. This is Dr. Stephen Jaros. I'm the professor of this course. I'll be leading you through the 8 weeks as we cover this material. What I like to do, therefore, is provide kind of a brief video introduction of the assignments as I post them. In this case, we're talking about assignments 1 and 2, which will be due 2 weeks from today, so keep that in mind. Always make sure to follow the instructions for completing the assignments very carefully as they are posted on our Moodle class page. Okay, so assignment number 1. The first article is from the Classics of Organizational Theory book, and that article is by Henry Fail. It's called General Principles of Management. And the reason I assigned this article first is because, this is a course about leadership primarily more than anything else, and organizational behavior, but first of all, mostly about leadership. And what Fail is trying to do in this article is kind of outline what he believes to be the classic principles of what a manager's job involves. So his belief is kind of, before we can talk about leadership, we need to understand the role of the manager in a modern organization, because typically it is managers who are called upon to lead. So, before we can really get into kind of the intricacies of leadership, we need to understand what managerial work is all about. And so Fail outlines what he believes to be principles of management. These are guiding principles that managers and organizations should follow in terms of carrying out the management function. Now, keep in mind that Fail primarily is talking about managerial work in large, complex organizations. He's not so much interested in managerial work as it pertains to, small businesses. And small business management, of course, is very important. And there's no question that some of his principles do apply to the management of small business. But it's the primary focus of his work and of his article is on, management in large, complex organizations. So you're going to learn about what he believes are the primary principles of management. The next article is from the Harvard Business Review package that I requested that you purchase, which is, it's a required. You have to purchase it if you're going to complete the course. And this is called The Manager's Job by Henry Mintzberg. Now, Mintzberg, like Fail, is interested in describing managerial work, right? So they share that similarity, and that's why I, bundled these two readings together in assignment 1. However, Mintzberg's work is a little different from what Fail is talking about. Fail is trying to describe for organizations and for managers what the primary responsibilities of their jobs should be as managers, okay? And what managerial work should involve, okay? Mintzberg is a little different. What Mintzberg is doing is reporting the results of work he has conducted, research he has conducted, into what managers actually do on the job. It's kind of like a difference of, what they say versus what they do. Okay. And so Mintzberg ends up observing the work of managers once again in large, complex organizations, and then coming up with a set of roles that he believes managerial work actually involves. And these roles fall into 3 different categories. So in Mintzberg's case, it's more along the lines of not necessarily what managers should be doing, but what they actually do on the job. And that's what you should get out of that article. Okay, that's assignment number 1. What about assignment number 2? Assignment number 2 takes us more into the topic of leadership directly. We said a moment ago that we discussed managerial work in assignment 1 because managers are the ones who are primarily called upon to exercise leadership roles in organizations. What, therefore, does leadership actually entail? And there are 3 readings that are assigned that I've assigned for you in assignment 2, and all of these come from the Harvard Business Review package that you are to purchase and download from Harvard Business Publishing. And you should see the link to that on our Moodle class page. The first article is called A Contingency Theory by Lorsch. And what Lorsch is trying to describe is, it's really a critical argument. He's taking on a body of work that is called contingency theory. Contingency theory is a theory of leadership that basically says that, the best way for a manager to lead in an organization depends on characteristics of the organizational situation that he or she finds themselves in. Okay, so according to contingency theory, there is no one single best way for a leader to operate or to function or to behave in an organization. A leader has to be adaptable. They have to be able to adapt their leadership style to fit different kinds of situations that may arise while doing their jobs. And so Lorsch, he has some ideas about this. First, he's kind of critical, of contingency theory. He believes there are some limitations to how contingency theory has been formulated in the past. And so he goes about trying to describe what he believes are important situational factors that will determine how a leader can be effective on the job. And that's the first article of assignment 2. The second article takes on the topic of ethical leadership, and it's by an author named Bazerman. Okay. We know that business ethics is an important topic these days. It's an important topic in the business press. Oftentimes we read about organizations and leaders that get into trouble if they do things that violate the ethical norms of society. With managerial work and with leadership work, there's a lot of power and authority, but with that comes the responsibility to behave ethically. So Bazerman takes upon himself the job of kind of outlining some of the key issues that arise, the key ethical issues that arise when people play the role of leaders in organizations. So he discusses some of the modes of decision making that a manager can adopt, that a leader can adopt, and what those modes of decision making, what implications the modes of decision making have for ethics, and whether a manager or leader is likely to make an ethical decision in any given business situation. And he also talks about creating value for society, because that, in Bazerman's terms, that ultimately is kind of like, how we should define whether a leader is acting ethically or not. Do their actions, do their decisions create value and good for people in the society that they are functioning within? And last but not least, we have an article by a gentleman named Goldman, a researcher named Goldman, called What Makes a Leader? And in this article, Goldman introduces the concept of what he calls emotional intelligence. Basically, Goldman argues that a lot of work in the area of leadership has focused on what we might call cognitive intelligence, which is, analytical intelligence. Basically the kind of intelligence that is measured by IQ tests, and how, I would say most of us argue, we define whether someone is smart or not. Okay. And while Goldman says that, yeah, no question, IQ, cognitive intelligence is something that matters It's a good thing to be smart, if you're going to be a leader making decisions. There's actually this concept called emotional intelligence, which is even more important than cognitive intelligence and in determining whether someone is going to function effectively as a good leader or not. A leader who inspires his or her followers to high levels of performance. So Goleman basically describes the concept of emotional intelligence and also discusses ways in which managers can develop their emotional intelligence to be more effective as leaders. Okay, this is the video introduction to assignments 1 and 2. I hope they are helpful to you.